This video is for those who feel stuck in a day job, interacting with the public, knowing that you may have a calling that's pulling you away from that lifestyle that you've been ground in for so long, and not sure exactly what to do with rewiring your thoughts and breaking away from that. I'm going to speak specifically to my customer service and service industry people. As many of you know, I've been in the service industry for the majority of my life. As a creative and an artist on the side, there's always been some kind of kitchen job or serving job or bartending job, or even in music venues I've been bartending and bar backing. In this video, I hope to express to you a few different ways that I've shifted my thinking as I recognize that I don't want to be a lifer. A lot of us don't want to be lifers, constantly serving tables until we die. So where does that leave us? As an artist and a songwriter, naturally that was my original form of entrepreneurship. But turning business is something that must be done, and making sales to give yourself some income at the same volume that a tip-based job does is not the easiest thing to program yourself to do. So I'm going to share a couple of experiences and a couple shifts in my own mindset to break me away from the mindset of feeling stuck and feeling attached to that service-based lifestyle, and how you can progress beyond that and recognize that you are the one who changes, not the job necessarily that changes. If this is your first time watching one of these videos, my name is Drew McClellan. I make these videos to help people become the leaders of their own lives. I have a background in making music, songwriting, lyricism, working in customer service, service industry, bar service, and also I help people with brand development and content creation on the side in my own personal pursuits. So thank you for being here. Welcome to this channel. Let's get into the video. First thing I've done to break away from strictly being a service industry employee is establish identity outside of the workplace. So many years of my 20s, I would say, my identity was like attached to the job that I worked, and even more so than my music sometimes. I was living in Denver, Colorado. It was a big service industry place. It's very hip and chic to be working at a certain restaurant or bar, and just knowing the connection of people who worked in other restaurants and bars is a very, very drunk town, and when you get in that cycle, or when you get in those social circles and start assuming that is your identity, it can really just reside in the core of you, and you can sort of forget that you are actually much more than just the job that you work at your inner core. So something that I've done more recently is establish this identity outside. Who do I really want to be? Most of the hours still that I spend in a week are not at the job. So it's really funny how we get ourselves mixed up in that. And obviously there's an element of alcohol and substance use and social aptitude, clout that weigh into these things and pull you further into what inevitably is the drama of that work lifestyle, that workplace lifestyle. But breaking away little bit by little bit from that being your core identity is very important to showing up with a different attitude in it, showing up with a progressed mindset that inevitably is stating and declaring to the rest of your surroundings that this is not my forever thing. I will grow outside of this. Secondly, dissolve expectation. And this, I want to speak especially to around money. And us servers and bartenders relate to this so much because tips are constantly flowing in and out. You look at the tips that you get, you have to enter them later. I've watched so many people, including myself in the past, get so upset about someone not leaving a tip or someone leaving a low tip. And I reminded a friend even just the other day he was complaining about how someone left a 6% tip or something like that. And ultimately, your emotional energy is everything. I guess I could put it this way. What is the necessity for being so emotionally drawn out of your own comfort zone into a place of negativity just because someone left you no money. There's going to be someone else who comes along, and if you are in that positive energy that you provide an experience to, organically treat people like they're your friends already and be welcoming, the chances are you're not going to have that repeat of a no tip. It's just a shitty tipper. You know, am I going to lose sleep over it? Am I going to sit around disgruntled? I've had I knew one girl in the past who literally was so distraught with a lack of a tip that she screamed wildly in the restaurant. Like, she just couldn't, it was like the breaking point for her. And to be that unstable does not exactly declare to the world that you are going to progress beyond that. It more so holds you in every single moment. Every isolated experience of getting tipped or getting paid is this negative thing. You can feel this relationship just so tense. And being able to set yourself aside from that and saying, you know what, the flow of money comes in no matter what. So what if someone's a bad tipper? I know there's just as equally as many great tippers out there. It never changes the average amount that I make in a day. So why am I upset about this person leaving a 4%, a 5%, whatever it is? Third thing I want to touch on here is that I've started to implement the practice of welcoming myself the same way that I welcome others. For a long time, I thought this people pleaser was this part of me that wasn't the real me. I thought it was this fake part of me, and I was not proud of it. I just felt so wrong doing it. And as I sort of began my journey trying to discover myself, I thought this people pleaser was just this persona that people saw when I was in the workplace. And then outside of it, my inner thoughts were dismal because I was holding back this real me. However, there's a true element to what I do when I approach people, when I am in the job. I mean, this job has, like I said earlier, you know, a lot of it becomes a part of your identity for a while. And, you know, there's this sort of split in between. You know, you don't have to be all of that, and that's not all fake, but at the same time, be yourself as well. I was recognizing that there's a welcoming nature that I was giving off to people that I could really expose to myself. In the morning, when you first see yourself in the mirror, do you look at yourself with evaluation and discernment, or do you look at yourself in a welcoming way? And I think a lot of us completely are just doing sort of a, you know, evaluation, a quick check over, you know, how are we doing? Do we look fucked up? Do we look ready to go? And you don't even think about that whole aspect of, I can actually get a gauge on what people are seeing of me as I go into my job later today. When I do greet my coworkers, my friends, my family, my customers, whoever it is, what face are they seeing? Are they, you know, are they feeling welcome? Can I welcome myself the same way that I welcome them? And what is to be learned from that? So simmering on these sort of ideas that help us rewire our minds, even while we're still in the day job. You know, ultimately, when you try and leave a certain situation and you return to what's familiar in a different place, we internally don't change. Over my years of time, like I have been in so many of those situations where I haven't changed. And when I left for a while and I finally decided, hey, it's probably good for me to go back and work a day job for the time being while I'm building my dream on the outside, it's the mindset internally that allows you to move the needle forward. You can be in the exact same environment, but if your mindset shifts, you're in a totally new place and you are in this ripe and rich, fertile ground to build your dreams with all of it. Learn from the experiences every day. I never thought that I could learn this much doing something I've done for almost my entire life. But here we are, continuing, learning, and moving forward.